Most offset smoker briskets take 12 to 14 hours, but what if you could cook a brisket in 6? Chris Young did it, but he had to steam the brisket, fake the smoke ring with nitrites, and he didn't use an offset smoker, which usually takes a lot longer. So today I'm testing something that is borderline insane. I'm gonna try to cook a real offset smoker brisket in just 6 hours with a steam injector, boiling water, copper heat pipes, and a rip-roaring fire. So let's get smoking. We're starting with a full packer brisket, around 12 pounds, trimming the edges, cleaning up the fat cap. This one is already super messed up by the butcher, but sometimes you gotta work with what you get. Now for the seasoning, bottom layer soy sauce, then table salt, then some Smoke Trails barbecue brisket rub, flip the brisket over and repeat on the top. Soy sauce first, table salt, Smoke Trails barbecue brisket rub. This is looking pretty good already. Now here's the problem with hot and fast briskets on an offset smoker. Offset smokers move a ton of air, which means you get massive evaporative cooling. Basically, the brisket sweats, and all that evaporation dries the meat out. Now, normally that's fine because a traditional offset smoker cook happens pretty slowly over the course of 12 to 14 hours. But if you crank temperatures on an offset super high, let's say 350, 375, even up to 400 degrees, you risk drying out or burning the edges of the brisket. So the challenge on an offset smoker becomes, how do you cook hot and fast at very high temperatures without drying out your brisket? And that's where science comes in. First, I'm filling the entire bottom of the cook chamber with water, and then I'm adding a little water heater that can heat the water in the bottom of the cook chamber up to 175 degrees. The idea here is pretty simple. More humidity, less evaporation, less drying, and hopefully faster cooking. Next up, I added cookie racks to raise the brisket higher into the hot air stream. A big problem with offsets is you tend to get very high temperatures above the meat in the cook chamber, but very low temperatures below it. So what I do is I raise the brisket up with cookie racks to get it higher in that hot air stream and help it cook more evenly. Now I'm adding some Oklahoma Joe's signature blend briquettes to the firebox, quite a few of them, getting a solid coal bed going, and then adding wood splits. My target temperature for this cook is somewhere around 350 plus degrees. Okay, now here's the really crazy part. This might be the dumbest thing I've ever built. It is a steam cleaner I bought off Amazon, and I took the bottom off and I ran the hose into a larger bucket with water and basically turned it into a steam injection system. And yes, I drilled a hole directly in my smoker and I can just plug it in. Here's how it works. Steam transfers heat way more effectively than dry air, because when steam condenses on the surface of the brisket, it dumps a huge amount of energy into the meat. And because it makes the environment much more humid, there's less risk of drying out the brisket, so it's the best of both worlds. It's going to help the brisket cook faster and not dry out. Next, we're gonna do something maybe even more crazy. These are copper heat pipes, normally used in computers and electronics to cool things down. I'm inserting them into the brisket all the way through, so there's a little bit sticking out that can pick up the hot air and transfer it to the interior of the brisket. These are basically hollow copper pipes that contain liquid inside, and they transfer heat really incredibly efficiently. So again, the idea here is to move heat deeper into the brisket much faster. Now, to measure humidity in the smoker, I set up a wet bulb thermometer with a cotton shoelace over the probe that constantly wicks water up and measures how hot it is when it evaporates. Wet bulb thermometers basically measure the temperature at which water evaporates in the smoker. I actually made this psychrometric chart specifically for barbecue conditions if you want to test it out on your smoker yourself and make your own wet bulb. Now I'm still doing a lot of testing on this, but the ideal smoking conditions based on what I've seen so far are anything above 2% relative humidity. On this chart is a pretty good level of humidity, and anything below 2% is pretty dry. And that reminds me, if you're a total barbecue nerd and you're actually going to measure the wet bulb temperature and dry bulb temperature in your smoker, please send me your data. In other words, show me your wet bulb. Send me your results, including your type of smoker, your city that you live in, because elevation is very important, and your wet bulb and dry bulb temperatures. You can send that to steve@smoketrailsbbq.com and it would be much appreciated. Okay, let's see if this steamer actually works. I'm turning the steam on and wow, that is so much steam, and you can see how it's directly hitting the brisket, which is a good thing because that tells me it's going to transfer energy and moisture effectively, at least to the point. All right, the experiment is officially underway and we've started the timer at 0. I'm starting at around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's injecting steam. Everything's working pretty well. I'm just checking on my Fireboard app to make sure everything is working, and to be honest, I didn't really know what vent settings to use. You can see that I started with them mostly closed, but what I did find is that after just a few minutes, the dome thermometer on my Oklahoma Joe's Longhorn offset, the analog dome thermometer here, was reading about 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So I found it more useful to go by the dome thermometer because my Fireboard temperatures were jumping up and down depending on where the steam injection was pointed. If the steam was blasting right into the dry bulb thermometer, the temperatures would be super inflated and weird, and then I might have adjusted the steam and it wasn't blasting right onto the dry bulb anymore, so it was lower. So I found the dome thermometers were the best to go by. I experimented a little bit with keeping the exhaust vent open and closed, because usually when you close the exhaust vent down, you get more even chamber temperatures, slower airflow, less drying. But in this case, there was so much moisture and humidity in the cook chamber, it didn't really matter if it was open or closed. And right here you can see just how much steam and smoke is coming out of the smoker. Absolutely crazy. 23 minutes later, the flat got to 86 degrees and the point was already at 127 degrees after 23 minutes, which usually takes me several hours. The wet bulb is above 155, which according to my psychrometric chart is very, very humid, and the dry bulb temperature is 530 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely high. So let's check on this brisket and make sure it's not completely burnt to a crisp already in the first 23 minutes. Opening the lid up and looking at the brisket, wow, it doesn't even look scorched at all. In fact, it looks like it's coming along pretty nicely. The bark is setting up, it's getting some nice color, it's still got some moisture on it. So that steam is really helping to prevent the extremely high temperatures from burning the brisket, which is a good sign. But then I ran into a problem. My steam injector suddenly stopped working, and I was worried that it had broken and I'd have to give up on this experiment. But then I realized that it had just tripped the breaker inside. So I went inside, I reflipped the breaker, and it started working again. I think the breaker tripped because the steam injector was overheating from so much use, so I got a clever idea. I took an electric fan and pointed it down towards the steam cleaner to continuously blow air on it and keep it colder and hopefully not trip the breaker, which also provided a nice little breeze as I sat by the smoker and enjoyed my water-heated, steam-injected, air-cooled offset smoker, just like they did in the olden days. 1 hour and 46 minutes in, the flat was already 153 degrees, the point was 170, crazy, and the brisket actually has bark. It's got some nice color, some nice bark, the edges aren't burnt at all, and at this point I started thinking, wow, this actually might work. Okay, the bark is set, so now I'm wrapping it in foil to speed things up even faster, because even with all the humidity in the cook chamber, the brisket was starting to stall out at around 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which I did not think it would do. But my theory is that there was so much humidity in the cook chamber that it was having a difficult time raising the internal temperature of the brisket above 165, which was around probably what the true wet bulb temperature was. The wet bulb temperature was around 155, could have actually been 165, and it might have just flatlined at the wet bulb temperature. And because there was no evaporative cooling and the brisket wasn't losing any moisture, it might not have been able to get above that temperature unless we wrap it and basically raise the wet bulb temperature to the boiling point of water, which where I live is 208 degrees Fahrenheit. So I wrapped it up in foil, continued cooking at around 350 degrees until it was probe tender. Now, most people think that brisket tenderness is just all about hitting a number, like 203, 205 degrees Fahrenheit, for example. But brisket tenderness is actually governed by time and temperature. With brisket, we're basically trying to cook collagen, which is super tough, trying to render it into gelatin, which is not tough. It's jiggly wiggly like Jell-O. Collagen breakdown follows first order reaction kinetics, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a chemical reaction that goes faster at higher temperatures. Over the past several years, I've been building a first order reaction kinetics model based on brisket tenderness. It's pretty simplified because it's broken down by number of hours at certain temperatures, and I have a basic calculator on my website, smoketrailsbarbecue.com, where you can input the hours at each internal temperature your brisket goes through, and it gives you a pretty good prediction on how far along your brisket is towards tenderness. But once you hit above 200 degrees internal, the rendering rate is so high that you really need to track things by the minute, not by the hour. So during this cook, I was downloading the Fireboard data every 15 minutes and feeding that data into ChatGPT and asking it to predict when the brisket would be done based on my collagen rendering model. And weirdly, it was really accurate. Once I hit 205 degrees internal, it told me, nope, you got another hour at that temperature before it gets tender, don't pull it just yet. So I tested it and I confirmed, yes, even though it hit 205, it was still really tough, definitely needed more time. I checked back 30 minutes later and my model again said, nope, you need another 30 minutes before it gets tender, don't pull it yet. But when I pushed my fingers into the bottom of the brisket, the fibers gave way, it felt really tender, I probed into it and it felt tender, so I decided to trust my gut and just remove it. After all, a mathematical model couldn't possibly predict when a brisket is done, right? So it was around the 5.5 hour mark when this brisket finally got tender enough, so I needed to rest it down to at least 140 degrees internal in the next 30 minutes in order to slice it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a true 6-hour brisket cook. If the brisket cook takes 6 hours and then you're resting it down for another 2 hours, that's really a 8-hour brisket cook, is it not? So I did something crazy and I put the brisket in my fridge to decrease the temperature really rapidly. And surprisingly, it worked really well. The temperature dropped from 205 to 140 in just 30 minutes and it was good to slice. Okay, here we go. It's been exactly 6 hours. Here's my Fireboard app to prove it, and we're ready to slice into this brisket. It actually looks pretty legit. Good bark, not as dark as my normal briskets, but still pretty dark. Let's slice into it. Slicing into it, it's looking pretty juicy, pretty much like my regular briskets. Has a nice smoke ring. Let's give it a taste. That is actually really good. Thumbs up for this brisket. My family would absolutely love it. They'd have nothing bad to say about it. What I would say about it is that I felt like it was a little bit tight. I had a little bit of chewiness in the remaining collagen structures that were in the brisket, and I felt like it could have used a little bit of extra time, maybe 30 minutes extra time, exactly what my brisket model had predicted. And that could be the most interesting part of this video. My mathematical brisket rendering model was actually arguably more accurate in predicting when the brisket would be tender enough than I was. And I feel like I have a good feel of when a brisket is done because I've cooked briskets all sorts of different ways. Usually they turn out pretty good. Not a lot of hot and fast briskets, which I think might have been the problem here. I think next time I'd probably err on the side of overcooking because even though it felt tender, I think it needed a little bit more time. But pretty crazy that my model was probably more accurate at predicting when it was done than I was. Anyway, let's answer the big question of this experiment. Can you cook a brisket in an offset smoker in just 6 hours? You totally can. 5.5 hours, in fact, because I included the 30-minute rest in those calculations. And you don't need nitrites, and you don't need to steam it in foil at the start, and you probably don't need to go to the extent I did in this video, adding steam injection and a water heater and heat pipes and all that kind of crazy stuff. Cooper from Bar A Barbecue did a 6-hour unwrapped brisket cook on an offset smoker and got really good results, although he said it was a bit crispy in areas and slightly underdone, kind of like mine. Also, La Barbecue in Texas is famous for doing 6 to 7 hour briskets in their offset smokers, and their briskets are really good. I've had them and they're absolutely amazing. So it's definitely possible to do briskets in 6 hours without steam injection or a water heater. It probably just really helped in my situation because I'm using a smaller offset smoker. It's not a huge 1,000-gallon offset smoker, and it's pretty dry where I live in Calgary, Alberta. We're at a higher elevation here, so elevation could have something to do with it as well. It's much more humid in Texas. And of course, because I know I'm gonna get these comments, yes, you can cook a brisket in like 4 or 5 hours on a drum smoker or a Kamado style smoker because there's less airflow and because there's more humidity in those types of smokers. But again, we're talking about offset smokers here, and they typically take a little bit longer to cook anything because of the higher airflow and more evaporative cooling. So I really thought that in this experiment, by doing all these extra crazy steam injection, water heating, heat pipe things, I'd be able to cook the brisket on the offset in closer to 4 hours or maybe even 5 hours. But I was surprised that it seems like there's just some sort of fundamental universal limitation. Like briskets just cannot cook faster than 6 hours or 5.5 hours max in an offset smoker. But the one thing I was thinking though is that at no point during this cook, even though I was smoking at 350, 375, 400 degrees in some parts of the cook, at no point did my brisket really get dried out or crispy on the edges. So arguably I could have ran it at 450 to 500 degrees the entire cook with that steam injection on, and maybe if I did that, I could have got a pretty good brisket in 4 hours. So anyway, I don't expect you guys to install a steam injector or get a water heater or do any of the crazy things in this experiment, but here are some practical recommendations if you decide to do a 6-hour brisket cook yourself on your own offset. First, use a water pan to add humidity. Get the brisket higher in the cook chamber, like on a cookie rack, so it cooks more evenly and faster. Close down the stack, like almost all the way closed, to slow down the airflow and add more humidity and even chamber temperatures. And for the cook itself, I'd run around 325 degrees Fahrenheit for the first 4 hours. Then I'd fully wrap it in foil, or you could even wrap it in butcher paper like La Barbecue does. Bump the temperatures to 375 and take it to probe tenderness, and then I'd rest it down for an hour. That might turn this into a 7-hour brisket cook in total, including the rest, but I think a little bit more time than 6 hours is probably the way to go. Until next time, happy smoking.